You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith.
Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are talking about the theological virtue of love. Yesterday, we talked about, with the help of St. Thomas Aquinas, how the three theological virtues of faith, hope, and love are really very united, and together they define the life that we should be seeking to live. Today, we're going to dive into the virtue of love. Now, chances are you're familiar with love. Love is a word that we use all the time. Hopefully, you have a couple of people in your life that you tell them that you love them every day. Your siblings, your parents, your grandparents, maybe even a beloved teacher, and that is so good. The problem with the word love is that it can mean a lot of different things. For example, we can say, I love chocolate and I love Jesus Christ. Now, hopefully, those things mean different things. When you're using the word love in those sentences, it means something different. Hopefully, your feelings towards your parents or Jesus is a little bit different than your feelings toward chocolate. So that is a problem. We use this one little word to mean a lot of different things. Now, understanding love is even more complicated because of the stories and the movies that we watch sometimes. In fact, the major confusion about love comes from what we see in Hollywood. Let me explain. A lot of times in Hollywood movies, we understand that there's a character that is seeking after love the entire course of the movie. Maybe it's a child that's seeking after a family to adopt them. Maybe the main character is an animal that is seeking after a relationship with a pet owner that will love them. Or maybe it's a romantic story about a man and a woman that fall in love and get married. In all of these situations, we are made to believe something very wrong about love. We are made to believe that love is something that we get, when in fact, love is something that we give. In all of these movies, people are seeking after this wonderful feeling of love. And that feeling means, like being someone's beloved, being the most important person to them, or just feeling protected and special. All of those things are good, and all of those things are, of course, related to love. But to actually display an act of love means that we are giving something of ourself and not necessarily receiving anything in return. In fact, as Catholics, we have the most profound image and example of love ever. And probably you have one of these hanging in your home right now. The most profound image of love is the crucifixion. And it is an example of Jesus Christ's act of love for us. The crucifixion, which is a hard thing to look at, it is the brutal murder of an innocent man. But it shows us love because on the cross, Jesus gave everything. And that is true love. Pouring out everything without hesitation, out of love, out of a determination to give and help those other people, and that would be us. That is what love is. Now, this confusion that we see in movies, the idea that love is something we get and not something we give, is a problem for children and adults. Many of us can be very confused about what love is. The true antidote to this, of course, is simply to look at a crucifix and remember that this image alone, shows us what true love is. And so, Sprouts, my challenge for you is very simple. Today, I challenge you to look at an image or a physical object of the crucifix. Remember these words. This is what love is. Growing up as a child, my mom actually wrote these words, "This is what love is," and pasted it above a crucifix that hung on our wall. And it was powerful to read those words, "This is what love is," as you look at a crucifix. And so, Sprouts, simply say those words to yourself today when you look at the crucifix. This is what love is.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God intended you to be. One final word to the grown-ups. Thank you so much for listening to the Catholic Sprouts podcast. I would like to invite you to join a special Facebook group just for those that listen to the Catholic Sprouts podcast. We will use this group to connect, to share resources around that week's theme, and simply celebrate raising future saints. To find the direct link to the Facebook group, simply check the notes for this podcast episode.